Donald Trump in 2002 said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
Ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
The mob takes the 5th. If you're innocent, why are you taking the 5th Amendment?
When you have your staff taking the 5th Amendment, taking the 5th so they're not prosecuted, when you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the 5th, I think it's disgraceful.
Have you seen what's going on in front of Congress? 5th Amendment, 5th Amendment, 5th Amendment. Horrible. Horrible.
In case you've been falling down a rabbit hole for the last few months, if not years, you would be aware that Donald Trump has been claiming that he was never friends with Epstein. However, his defense has more holes in it than Swiss cheese. So in this episode, we're going to go through Trump's timeline and excuses, which so far have made about as much sense as navigating a storm with a map drawn in crayon by a drunk raccoon. So let's start the friendship era from the 1980s to somewhere between 2001 and 2004. And according to Trump himself, he and Epstein were friends for over 15 years, beginning in the late 1980s. So for example, in 92, we have images here of Trump throwing a raucous party at Mar-a-Lago with NFL cheerleaders. Epstein is right in there with him, along with Maxwell. Between 93 and 97, we see Trump is flying on Epstein's private jet at least 7 times. In 97, they're photographed together at Victoria's Secret Angels party. And in 2002, Trump publicly praises Epstein. And it's the time frame over that 2001 to 2004 period that just doesn't make any sense. Let's listen to what Trump said about that period and Virginia Roberts.
And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone.
Did one of those stolen, persons, that include Virginia Giuffre?
I don't know.
The woman leading the case against Jeffrey Epstein, who has brought up her connection to Trump several times, and for some reason he doesn't seem to know she worked at his spa. That is bizarre.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know.
So there's a lot to unpick here, because Giuffre claims that she met Maxwell, not Epstein, at Mar-a-Lago in 1999. But Trump is claiming he banned Epstein around that same period for recruiting. Starting to see the Swiss holes?
I hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata.
It's kind of weird that the thing that Trump seems to be focused on and more interested in is the fact that Epstein's stealing his staff, not recruiting women from his Mar-a-Lago and using them as sex slaves. He bans Epstein because of Ghislaine Maxwell recruiting in 1999, except he doesn't ban Epstein until 2007. That's a full 8 years after Maxwell recruits Giuffre. And yet 3 years after Maxwell's recruited Giuffre, Donald Trump is talking about how great Jeffrey Epstein is. But we're still not done, because Maxwell in 2003 for Epstein's 50th birthday goes around recruiting people to write lovely notes about Epstein. So, a full 4 years after Maxwell recruits Roberts, she approaches Trump, even though he's pissed off with her apparently for recruiting his staff, and writes a lovely note to Epstein.
There must be more to life than having everything. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is.
Nor will I, since I also know what it is.
We have certain things in common, Jeffrey.
Yes, we do, come to think of it.
Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that?
As a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you.
A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret.
This has to be one of the creepiest things I've ever read. It's up there with Jimmy Savile, who dropped hints in all of his TV interviews. This doesn't seem to be any different. And of course, none of this ever gets better with Trump. He continues to put his foot in his mouth. For example, he actually ended up wishing Ghislaine Maxwell well when she went to prison.
I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
And there's more, because that was in 2020, but in 2024 he reruns for president, and he starts getting all his cronies to talk about Epstein.
Part of why Kamala's getting so much support, if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes, and Gates.
And Gates, yeah.
Just scale pederast in human history.
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if you release the names, right?
We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court.
Declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
There's a moment where you had some hesitation about Epstein, releasing some of the documents on Epstein. Why the hesitation?
I don't think I'm not involved. I never went to his island, fortunately. But a lot of people did.
Why do you think so many smart, powerful people allowed him to get so close?
He was a good salesman. He was, was a hale and hearty type of guy. He had some nice assets that he'd throw around, like islands. But a lot of big people went to that island. But fortunately, I was not one of them.
It's just very strange for a lot of people that the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Probably will be, by the way. Probably.
So if you're able to, you'll be...
Yeah, I'd certainly take a look at it. Now, Kennedy's interesting because it's so many years ago. They do that for danger, too, because, endangers certain people, et cetera, et cetera. So Kennedy is very different from the Epstein thing. But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
And yet when in office, he gaslights the entire public, which include MAGA, trying to convince them all that this is their issue and that he doesn't understand why they have such an interest in Epstein.
Sure. Your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Kosticki allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape?
Yep. Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy.
Absolute gaslighting. But there's one more thing. Donald Trump got a warning about Epstein in '92.
Yeah, as we revisit this, looking back on the, intensity of that relationship that took place, there was a 1992 party in which Donald Trump had 28 young women at a party at Mar-a-Lago. His only guest at that particular party was a man named Jeffrey Epstein. And what's most interesting to me as I revisit the reporting that I did on this story is that the Florida businessman who put this party together at the time for the Calendar Girls competition that took place at Trump casinos, specifically told Donald Trump, this is in 1992, Jeffrey Epstein had only been in Palm Beach for 2 years. He got his mansion there in 1990. This man told Donald Trump, I'm going to ban Jeffrey Epstein from events like this. I don't like him going after younger girls. And he was very concerned about the party on this particular night. And Donald Trump's response, and this is it's been reiterated in an interview to the New York Times. The man said that Trump told him, don't worry, my name is on this, and it's not going to lead to any scandal. So you have to wonder here. Donald Trump knew about Jeffrey Epstein's behavior with younger girls all the way back to 1992. That is astonishing.
And yet, as I've repeatedly told you, it's not that surprising. It's just the media aren't doing their job. There are loads of holes. Why are they not being pulled up?
Epstein's lifestyle.
Your daughter, she's beautiful. Can I say this? A piece of it.
Yeah.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
What does Tiffany have of Marlon's?
She's got Marlon's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet.
You were playing tennis and you came off the court. Quote, look at that piece of I would love some of that. It so happened that Trump was referring to Cohen's then 15-year-old daughter, Samantha.
I had the impression that he was interested in younger women and that, women would age out for him.
Miss Teen Universe? Yeah, that's like giving Jeffrey Dahmer a cooking show.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. Yeah. Standing there with notes like...
Donald Trump is heard making questionable comments about a young girl.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
A lawsuit against the presumptive GOP nominee alleges he raped a girl when she was 13 years old.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked today's episode and you want to help out for free, please hit that like and subscribe button. Once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of my Patreon and YouTube subscribers who keep this channel going and growing. If you'd like to become one, there's a link in the description, or if you like, you can buy me a coffee. And finally, if you like the content and you like a good read, why not pick up my book, Manufactured Fear, The Power of Division, How the Powerful over centuries have used fear to control populations.